There's still a lot of uncertainty around this. After all of these years, there's still this uncertainty about how do we best teach the children English? How do we best teach them to become bilingual and biliterate? And I think now's the time for us to really make sure that what we offer in our classrooms is absolutely the best that there is in the state. We went through a terrible period after Prop 227, where teachers were trained on how to teach English learners with the antithesis of what we know was good instruction for English learners. English only, scripted literacy. We spent 18 to 20 years doing that. And now our teachers have to undo what they learned and learn what it is to be a highly skilled, talented, passionate person who knows how to support children's first language as well as their second language. And that's what I think our work needs to be about. Our work will never end in terms of trying to convince people the value of our children and their families and the value of their languages and what they contribute to our community and our state. That's the role that CAVE has to play also, always uplifting, positive impact our children bring to our state and their community. So we have a dual role, and that is to really set the narrative in the state in terms of an asset-based approach to educating the students, and then to be highly skilled and highly talented in the classroom and at the school sites. So one of the pieces of work that CAVE has contributed to all of us is the fact that for many, many years now, I don't really know how many years it is, they have had an official presence in Sacramento. Martha Zaragoza Diaz has been our legislative advocate in Sacramento, and she speaks for CAVE strongly, but she's also been allowed to speak for a coalition called the Californians Together, which brings together 23 parent, professional, and civil rights organizations, also to support the work of CAVE and to be a voice and strong advocates in California. And I think that the work that when we were trying to figure out what we could do to have a counter narrative to the English-only initiative that passed in 1998, 227, we did create the California State Seal of Biliteracy. And that was really, that work was headed up by Martha Zaragoza Diaz in Sacramento. She would not have been there had it not been for CAVE having the insight of having a person to be there. But she was allowed to also work with the 23 organizations and Californians Together. And we, through Californians Together, really did mount a very strong campaign to try and change the narrative in California, to try and see our students who had talents and gifts to give to our communities by recognizing them when they graduate from high school with a seal of biliteracy. Because it's students at graduation get recognized for being bilingual and biliterate. Sitting in those audiences are their aunts, their grandparents, their neighbors, their mothers, their fathers, their siblings. They all sit there proud of being of their sibling and their grandchild who is bilingual and biliterate. And that pride carries across a wide community of people. We think really helped change, in some respects, the atmosphere in California to welcome Proposition 58 and to change that narrative. But the legislation that CAVE Californians Together has been able to pass, including the State Seal of Biliteracy, has really, again, changed the landscape in terms of policy and practice for us in California. When I was president from 85 to 87, I gave birth to my first child. And I remember going to a workshop that we were holding at USC, pushing my son in the stroller at 2 months old because I was going to be at that conference. There I was with my son in the stroller, right? So that's one of the funny instances. When we were trying to reauthorize the Bilingual Education Act, at that time, Peter Shelly gave up the Bilingual Coalition, and it was headed by Benjamin Lopez. And we were trying to get Alpert. Alpert was going to be the author of the bill, Senator Alpert, to reauthorize the legislation. And we were sitting in one of the conference rooms in the legislature with the senator, trying to come to consensus on what the legislation would be like. And we were like really hashing it out. And some of the language was not really admirable, I want to say. And what we didn't know is that the speaker in the room was on, and people could hear us outside of the room, and someone had to come in and tell us that to shut off the microphones. That was an incident that was to be remembered.